What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the continuation on talking about what would have been the what if we actually got Michael Waldron's version of Secret Wars. Now, we did a really lengthy video that I think was just around 50 minutes on what would have happened in the now deleted Council Kang's Dynasty that's been changed to Doomsday with the Russo brothers and Stephen McFeely, so on and so forth. So in today's video, we're going to go over the alleged what if, what would have happened, the whole plot leak for Michael Waldron's Secret Wars, because I think it's interesting to go over. So if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Multiverse, Pop Culture based content that I try to deliver on a daily basis. You could subscribe channel, turn notifications on, and let me know down below. Are you a fan of this version of Secret Wars? As we know, they're completely rewriting the whole of Doomsday and the whole of Avengers Secret Wars. So none of this is actually going to happen, although some of it could be worked in, I guess. Also, check us out on Instagram, at Warstu, to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful face, and check us out on Twitter, Warstu. Right, let's get into it. So, Michael Waldron's scrap version of Avengers Secret Wars would have followed the ending of Avengers the Kang's Dynasty, where Beyonder Kang has created Battleworld from multiple timelines and realities, where he rules from his new kingdom, Chronopolis, as its supreme leader. So it's interesting, for one fact, because everyone thinks the Kang that got killed or got sucked up into the Beyondverse in this version of the story became Beyonder Kang. So that would mean that the leaks and what people thought would be true. But we don't actually know what's going to happen with Kang. Kang should be killed off, should be brought back. They should bring Jonathan Majors back just for Doom to kill all the Kangs off, to kill the Council of Kangs off, just to show how freaking powerful he is. So the surviving Avengers, remember, this is post Kang's Dynasty. So the surviving Avengers were imprisoned by Beyonder Kang. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider, Deadpool, Wolverine, the Fantastic Four family, Tom Holland Spider-Man, and Miss Marvel. Turns out that each hero has a prime variant, the greatest version of them in their entire multiverse. And Tom Holland is the prime Spider-Man, destined to defeat Kang. He Who Remains, heroic Kang variant, and Doctor Strange rallies the heroes in Battleworld to fight the Beyonder and take back the Nega bands and the Ten Rings. Now, side note, it is interesting how apparently Shang-Chi's rings are so important and Miss Marvel's band is so important. Yet even if they are going to completely change the whole story with Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, they're still going to have to be somewhat important, because although I give Shang-Chi a lot of stick and I do slack it a lot, them rings are supposed to be very important. So it is interesting how them rings and the mega bands were going to be really important in this storyline. Whether that would change and be reworked, who knows? Robert Downey Jr. return as Superior Iron Man from Earth 818, who conspires to steal the Beyonder's power for himself. So that's interesting. So Robert Downey Jr. was always going to return. Everyone knows that. It's just interesting that allegedly he was going to be Superior Iron Man. I believe, regardless, I haven't actually read this yet, I believe, regardless to what the ending of this alleged plot leak for the scrapped Secret Wars, Doom was always going to show up. Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson also return as variants of Captain America and Black Widow in Battleworld. We've always known for the longest time that every single old character is going to appear in Avengers 5 or 6. Several pre-MCU actors expected to return, including Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Patrick Stewart, Warstu, Nicolas Cage, Ian McKenna, Nicolas Cage, and Miles Teller. Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen from the Spideyverse is expected to appear. Well, that probably could still happen. Superior Iron Man ends up helping stop and kill Beyonder Kang and absorbs his powers. Superior Iron Man knows possessing the powers of the Beyonder, betrays the Avengers and heroes. This sets up a climatic battle between the Chosen One, the strongest anchor being in the multiverse, aka Tom Holland's Spider-Man, really, and Superior Iron Man. Spider-Man and the heroes win, but the multiverse is still going to collapse. So He Who Remains and the TVA merge the dying universes into one universe, including the MCU and the X-Men universe and the Fantastic Four universe. Well, this is pretty much what most people will be expecting to happen anyway, because we know we're going to get a soft reboot when we get to the culmination of the actual Secret Wars. Whichever actors are still, want to stick around and still have enough story to tell will still be there. So this is pretty much exactly what's going to happen anyway. It's just the storytelling and the narration and how it goes is probably going to be a little bit different. The result is a soft reboot that establishes a new continuity where mutants have always existed. I mean, that's probably most likely going to be the case anyway. The Fantastic Four are the first family of the heroes, and some MCU heroes are rebooted and recast. I mean, that's interesting. But what they could do still anyway is just keep, an Iron Man from the multiverse, a new Captain America from the multiverse, so on and so forth. If they are going to recast actors, it's interesting. Culminates with He Who Remains policing the new multiverse. That's interesting. The guy that started it all is going to end it all, but it's going to be in control of it all. That's interesting. Feige and Michael Waldron initially wanted to have it split into 2 films due to how sprawling the storyline is. And if this is true, this is so bad. Well, it's not bad. Let's step back a little bit. It's not as good as it could have been, realistically. And as we know, when we go over these scrapped plot leaks for, what could have been, and Marvel did a whole show, multiple seasons for What If. So people love what if scenarios. So hopefully there's a more in-depth one that gets released. Because let's be honest, there was a plot leak for Kang's Dynasty, which seemed a lot better than this. This seems pretty bleak and pretty weak. I think this is just a summarized version of what was supposed to happen in Secret Wars. Very interesting how there's literally no mention of Thor, no mention of Captain Marvel, no mention of Loki, and Michael Waldron obviously set up the Loki stuff because he worked on Loki. So Loki holding the main sacred timeline together. Sure, I mean, I know if you've gone over the video for Kang's Dynasty, we've gone over the Loki stuff, but Loki should have appeared in this. Interesting how they say the strongest being is Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Really? I mean, I guess it's true because Captain Marvel, Thor aren't technically they're technically not from Earth, if you want to say it like that. Interesting how there's no mention of Doctor Doom at all, because I was always under the perception that Doctor Doom was always going to appear, and there was also going to be multiple other villains. As we know, Secret Wars is basically, Battleworld, heroes, villains fighting each other in some kind of variant of that. So it's interesting how it doesn't really mention any villains at all. Although some of this could actually be true. People are expecting Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, Warstu, and, Chris Evans allegedly is in Doomsday, so he's probably going to be in Secret Wars. I don't think this is far off. I think will still be 20 to 30% of the story, even though the Russo brothers are claiming they've completely scrapped it and it's a complete new story. I'm not really buying that because everything's been set up. And also, if they are completely scrapping everything, then what is the point in releasing Captain America 4, releasing Thunderbolts, and also what is the point in releasing Fantastic Four? Because they can't have changed that much to set up this new storyline. Because obviously, if the Russos signed on sometime in 2024, before San Diego Comic-Con, we assume early 2024, could they have changed enough for Fantastic Four? Captain America 4 went through crazy amounts of reshoots. Thunderbolts, although them first 2 movies aren't really that indicative to multiverse, the Fantastic Four is gonna have to be, because obviously Doctor Doom is allegedly from the Sacred Timeline, but he was chucked exactly with the Fantastic Four into another reality. It's gonna be freaking interesting to see what happens. But, the positive feedback, there was a bunch of comments on the other one we did about Kang's Dynasty. So I thought we might as well go over the alleged plot leak that scrapped for Secret Wars, because it's interesting and people always like what if scenarios, don't they? And I like making videos like this. Probably my favorite kind of video to make, if I'm honest. So likewise, guys, let us know. Do you think this is trash? A lot of people are going to say it's very bad, and I agree. It's pretty darn weak. The alleged scrap plot for Kang's Dynasty was a lot deeper, in a lot more depth, and a lot darker. But maybe this is why the Secret Wars one isn't really that in-depth and seems pretty darn weak. So likewise, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, TikTok, WarstuG. And I'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.